Number one, Aaron Rodgers is back in the news because Coach Matt LaFleur announced Tuesday that Aaron Rodgers would likely sit out the entire preseason. Now, this probably does not have to do with any of this offseason drama, the back and forth between the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers, which he was very candid about in his first press conference after joining the team at training camp. But this has been a trend for Aaron Rodgers in the past. Obviously, there was no preseason last year, but the previous season, I'm pretty sure only had 1 or 2 series that he actually played in the preseason. And since 2015, he hasn't played more than 3 series in a preseason game or in a entire preseason. So it's not terribly out of the ordinary, but of course, there's a little bit more attention to it because of the disputes, the underground battle that we kind of witnessed in the offseason between Aaron Rodgers and the front office in Green Bay. But we finally get to see Jordan Love play for the first time in an actual game since he played in the Senior Bowl in January 2020 when he was a member of Utah State's football team. So we're going to finally see Jordan Love, who's supposedly, I guess, Aaron Rodgers' successor, supposedly, once he maybe finishes this season that he's agreed to play one more of with the Green Bay Packers. But I want to get your take on this, Chris. Do you think there's anything more to this story of Aaron Rodgers sitting out the preseason than simply that he's a veteran quarterback and he's done this before?
No, I don't think it is at all, but I think it's interesting for all of us because of the Jordan Love aspect. If this guy can't play, we are in for one of the most interesting soap operas I can remember in sports, where for this entire year, Aaron Rodgers, right? If this guy, I don't want Jordan Love to bomb, obviously. I have nothing against him. But if Jordan Love just bombs out in these preseason games and Rodgers comes out, maybe he doesn't win another MVP, but he leads the Packers to the playoffs, NFC Championship, Super Bowl, whatever. He's Aaron Rodgers. Then I think that Green Bay has a fascinating situation. If he's really, really good and he continues to get better and he learns the LaFleur offense and they think he can succeed, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is an MVP quarterback. There's no doubt. See ya. He's 22, 23. How old is he? And Aaron Rodgers in his late 30s. And he didn't get picked to be the Jeopardy host. So I guess that's kind of off the table now. But I wouldn't hate to see that if I'm Green Bay, where it's all right, kind of the Brett Favre thing, honestly. You want to go play for the Jets? Sure. Good riddance. See you later. We got this kid in the wings who's going to win us multiple Super Bowls. Aaron Rodgers has only won them 1, but that's what they thought at the time. I could see that happening again. And that's kind of less dramatic than if this kid stinks and Green Bay is trying desperately to hold on to the back of Aaron Rodgers' shirt as he walks out to wherever he ends up. Maybe it's Vegas, maybe it's Denver next year. I think it's nothing. It's a complete dud of a story, but it could be fun fun for us if it goes poorly. But everything we've heard is that it's not, and this kid is really good. So it's going to be interesting to watch for sure.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to make this to be out to anything that it's not, and it's simply just a veteran quarterback who has played plenty of seasons in the NFL and just doesn't see the need to get reps before it, risk injury when he's already in his late 30s, 36 or 37 for Aaron Rodgers. I do think it would be very interesting if Jordan Love just went out there and just threw pick after pick and just was not good at all, not anything that he was advertised. I don't think that will happen. Obviously, he was a great quarterback in college. There's certainly a transition, little growing pain phase that most quarterbacks seem to have when they enter the NFL. But I would say that it's extremely unlikely that he ends up being Aaron Rodgers' replacement in the same way that Aaron Rodgers was the replacement of Brett Favre. I think the Packers just were extremely lucky to have 2 generational talents at the quarterback position. But Aaron Rodgers is arguably, obviously he's not the GOAT because Tom Brady's won 7 Super Bowls and Aaron Rodgers has won 1. And there's something to be said for that. As a quarterback, you're obviously the most important player on the team. But Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen, even though he's only won one Super Bowl. And that can easily be blamed by the front office and the people that are surrounding him in Green Bay. So I don't know. It's really tough if you're in the position of the Packers to move on from Aaron Rodgers because of how amazing he is. He was an MVP last year. If it weren't for a few plays that went the Bucs' way in the NFC Championship, he easily could have been in the Super Bowl this year with a team that he personally thought wasn't really probably good enough to get him there. You know, the Packers haven't drafted a skill player other than a quarterback in the first round of the draft since God knows when.
But out of all that, they got Adams and Jones. So in the three most important positions on offense, he has an all-pro. Left tackle, David Bakhtiari, number one wide receiver, Davante Adams, and number one running back, Aaron Jones. He has an all-pro, not good guy who they found off the street. All-pro at all three of those positions. Has he made, like, Richard Rodgers into a better tight end than he probably is? Yes, of course he has. He's made a lot of players a lot of money that maybe in other positions they wouldn't deserve. Cough, cough, Jordy Nelson. But that's fine, and that's all great, and that's his job. That's what he does. But he has three all-pros who, if they went to other places, would be all-pros, especially Bakhtiari. He doesn't have anything to do with Aaron Rodgers. And he still complains about the offensive personnel. That, to me, is complete garbage. Complete garbage. Davante Adams is the second, maybe third best wide receiver on a good day, the best wide receiver in all of football. And he gets to throw to him. Yeah, he doesn't have a great number two. That's completely fair. But who does, really? Who has a great number two? Not that many teams. And honestly, if Aaron Rodgers has a pulse in the second half of the 2020 AFC Championship game against San Francisco, they probably go to the NFC Champion. They probably win the NFC Championship game. And it's probably on their defense that they didn't win the NFC Championship this past year. I won't put that one on Rodgers, but he was god awful in that San Francisco game. And yeah, they've gone to back-to-back NFC Championships and laid down and died. And all of a sudden, that's the general manager's fault because there's no good second wide receiver. That, to me, honestly, is garbage. I think it's just this is a team on the doorstep who, with a couple good players on defense, they can make it to the Super Bowl, no questions asked. I'm not necessarily sure they added those players on defense, and all their guys who are already kind of old got older. So I don't know, but I think that Aaron Rodgers is barking up the wrong tree. I think it's personally, I think it's just should they have drafted more offensive linemen and tight ends and whatever? Fine, have that argument till the cows come home. I don't care, but to me, it's just, man, as a Jets fan specifically, I cannot fathom somebody complaining about an all-pro wide receiver because I haven't seen one in my entire life. I cannot fathom it. It's unbelievable to me. There's been one good wide receiver season on the Jets in my lifetime. It was Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker matching 1,000-yard seasons, and they didn't even make the playoffs. So having an all-pro wide receiver, going to the NFC Championship game, and then 2 years in a row, and then complaining that you don't have wide receivers is mind-baffling to me. I cannot comprehend it. And I that's the part of the Aaron Rodgers situation I just don't understand. It's like you can't then just go and get more money on the contract. That completely defeats the purpose. I don't know.
Obviously, we've seen Davante Adams is a terrific talent. He's an all-pro talent. But we also have never seen anybody else throw to him. And obviously, there are plenty of players. But it doesn't matter because
Aaron Rodgers is throwing to him.
That certainly shouldn't have been as good as they are, but they were because they had a terrific quarterback. Now, I'm not saying that Davante Adams would be any worse. Well, I'm not saying that he would be significantly worse if he were to be on any other team that didn't have Aaron Rodgers. But I think as soon as Aaron Rodgers walks out the door and you only have Jordan Love, who might be close to as good as Aaron Rodgers, is almost certain that he won't be, you have a problem in Green Bay because even that recipe has not gotten you to a Super Bowl since 2010.
But yeah, of course. And I think that part of it is I implore people to go back and watch the second half of the NFC Championship game this year because I, for some reason, found myself clicking around YouTube and found these highlights 3 months ago. And Aaron Rodgers had a fine game, good enough to win the game for sure. Tom Brady was god awful in the first half. And the Packers defense died in the second half. They left their cleats in the locker room and went out in high heels. I cannot, like, tripping over themselves. Like, I cannot process, like, and then it's the wide receiver's fault. It's like, dude, like, it's clear what happened. Tom Brady showed up and tore apart your defense for 30 minutes. And it's the GM's fault that there's not a good enough offense. I don't understand.